Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Shy and welcome to yet another crochet vlog. Today I don't really have a plan for what we're doing. We're just gonna kind of go with the flow. I have a box of yarn to put away in my yarn stash. Otherwise, we're just gonna see what the day brings us. I know one of my viewers requested that I make a hexagon cardigan, which I have made a couple years ago, but I do want to make another one. So we're probably gonna do that today, and if we have time, maybe we'll start another project. Here's our box of yarn. We're back in the closet again. This is where I keep my yarn. In my first vlog, you saw me organize everything. Obviously, my stash has slimmed down just a bit since then, since I've been crocheting quite a lot. But let's go through this and put it away. We're starting with this neon yellow Craft Smart yarn. I think this would be cool for like a blanket of some kind. Of course, it's not enough, so I'd have to pair it with something else, but I think that's cool. And then I believe this is a red heart skein. I just finished a couple of these the other day on a baby blanket, so maybe I'll make another one of those with this, and I'll just pair it with my blues back here. But let's put them away. We have some smaller balls here. I'm not entirely sure what brands they are, but we have this red, this brown, and then this other brown color. Super cute. My little balls go in this basket up here. And then my cakes just go somewhere over here. I'm not keeping it too organized on that side. Next, we have some more Red Heart yarn. This is Red Heart Baby. I've never used this before, but it looks really pretty. I think it's so cute. It's like a little pastel rainbow with white in it. And then there's this pink and white variation, which I like a lot too. These will probably also end up being baby blankets or just blankets in general. We'll see how big I can make these blankets, but I'd pair these up with yet another color. I think this was once a Red Heart skein as well. It's this purpley color. It's a little bit of a mess, so I might spend some time untangling this today. We'll see. For now, we're gonna put it in our yarn stash. Next, we have quite a bit of this Crafters Square yarn in purple, blue, and pink. This is from the dollar store. I used it before. It's pretty nice despite being from the dollar store. You'd expect it to be lower quality than it is, but I do like it. It's nice and soft. And then the last thing I have in this box is this little tiny Crafters Square ball of pink. We're gonna put this in our basket up there, and then we will get started on our project. That was not all of it. I actually forgot that I took some out last night. I took out this white and this black because they go with a project that my sister started, which is where I got all this yarn from, so thank you to my sister. But she started a granny square bag, and she has all these granny squares in here, and she kind of wants it to look like a checkerboard style pattern, which I think is such a neat idea, so I'm going to finish it for her. However, before we get too ahead of ourselves, we do have some hexagon cardigans to get started and finish before we get anywhere near any other blankets. I did end up starting one of these cardigans about 3 or 4 days ago, and I just kind of put it to the side because I ran out of the yarn color I was using, and it's out of stock at Michael's, so I have to figure out what I want to do to finish it. But this cardigan is for a 2-year-old I know from jujitsu classes, and I have 2 sleeves done. They're the exact same sleeves on the front and the back, but because one is going to be the left sleeve and one will be the right sleeve, the design will look different on both sides, which I think is cool. Instead of leaving these as cardigans, I'm thinking of having them be pullovers instead. I ran out of this yarn, so I have to figure out what else I want to put in as a color for it. And I'm thinking pink because this whole thing is pink and purple, and I don't have that much purple. But the only pink I really have is this pink, which is what I was originally thinking. But we did just get this pink, and I'm not sure which one I like more with these colors. And if I use this, I'm not sure I'll have enough of this to finish the whole thing. I think I'll go with this one because it's a cooler tone. If I run out of this one though, then I will go to this. Let's get started. For this pattern, I'm following a crochet tutorial on YouTube, and I've been using a 6mm hook and just a measuring tape. I've kept notes of sizes on my iPad. So I'm making this for a 2-year-old, and then I'm gonna make one for a 4-year-old and one for a 7-year-old. But because I'm not exactly sure of their sizes, I'm sizing up a tiny bit. That way they can have room to breathe. So this is the one for the 2-year-old, and and we're almost done it. I think we can finish this one and potentially the 4-year-old's one today. Yeah, so I'm basically just going based off of the YouTube tutorial and my measurements and then praying that it'll fit. Let's get into the actual crocheting part of this video. It's been like an hour, hour and a half. I don't know why it took me so long because it's not like I had a lot to do on this sweater, but I have finished it. I weaved in my ends and everything. This is what it looks like. I'm not sure if I want to add rows on the bottom and make it longer, but for now, this is what it looks like. This is like a little collar. It doesn't really like stick out like it should. Like it should look like this more, but that's okay. And so the light pink is also on the back, which makes this like, it looks intentional, which it is. I didn't intend to run out of yarn, so I'm happy that it looks intentional at least. But yeah, I think it's super cute. I still have 2 more to make, so I'll do that. I'm gonna have lunch first because it's almost 1 o'clock. I'm hungry, and as I'm eating lunch, I'll decide if I want to add more rows to the bottom of that sweater or just moved on to the next one. I went on my break. I'm all back now. I decided to add a couple rows to the bottom. Just 2 rows, nothing crazy. I think it blends in the pink super well. It like doesn't even look like I ran out, which I think is so cute. But I'm calling this one done, and we're gonna move on to our next one. Our next sweater we're making is for their little boy. He's 4. I'm thinking using this color. I bought this for this cardigan sweater, but I only have 1 of these, and this is the same size as the yarn I ran out of with the other one, and this sweater needs to be bigger than that one, so I know I'm gonna run out of this one for sure. So what I'm thinking is, instead of buying more of this, I'll do half the sweater in this multicolor, like the sleeve and then this part in this color, and then the other side will be a solid blue. Blue is his favorite color, which is why we're doing blue. These colors look super different on camera, but this actually is super close to this color here, the lighter blue. But I think it'll look intentional enough that it won't matter. Let's get started. I finished our first half of this cardigan. This is what it looks like. The sleeve kind of looks long, so I'm going to remeasure that now that I'm looking at it, but it'll bulk out a little bit and it's going to get bigger on this side. So now I just have to make the second sleeve, so the same exact thing again in this color, and then I'll put them together, and that'll be that for that cardigan. I keep calling it a cardigan. It's a sweater. They're the same thing pretty much, just this isn't having an open front. It's all coming together like this sweater is. I'm gonna keep working on it and I'll see you guys soon. It's the next day. I just finished our other half of the cardigan in this blue. So now we just have to connect the two panels like we did with the other one. I like it. I think it's cute. I think he'll like it since it's blue and blue is his favorite color. So yeah, let's connect these two panels together. It's been a couple hours. I finished putting the two halves together and I put a collar on. I still have some ends to weave in, but this is what she looks like. I think it's so cute. And then this is what the back looks like. So it's a half and half situation, like I said before, just because I don't have enough yarn to do a whole one in that multicolor. But what I do have left is this much, which I will probably put in my scrap bin to be used a different day on something else. But yeah, I have those ends to weave in, and I will weave those in after I have lunch because I am hungry. And then when I come back, we'll weave in those ends and we will start our rainbow one. I'm back. I weaved in my ends. So this sweater is completely done. This is what it looks like. Super cute, very blue, but I like it. I think it's cute. I think he'll love it. And now we're moving on to our rainbow one. I have our rainbow yarn here. It's a little messy, and especially in the center on both sides. But I got two of these, and this isn't even the worst one. Like, I had these shipped to me from Michael's, and this is what this one looks like. I feel like this shouldn't happen, like, ever. Like, look at that. Why is that just in the middle? I like getting cakes because I like pulling from the center. It's just so much easier to work with. It gives me more insight into how much I actually have left. But this isn't going to be able to pull from the center like at all. I'm going to spend some time winding it up. It's been about 35 minutes since I started untangling and winding up this ball of yarn, which is the super messy one that you just saw. It looks like this. It starts in the middle of it is yellow and it ends on red, and then this one is starting on blue and ends on yellow. So I kind of wish that the red was on the inside and the yellow was on the outside so that it would like sync up in a way, because I like when my cakes do that. But since it's not gonna, it's fine. This one will end on yellow, and then this one will start on red, and the yellow goes to the red, so it just looks like it's the same sequence anyway. But now that this like whole messy yarn situation has been solved, I can actually start on the sweater. I'm hoping I can finish it tonight, but given my track record, I'm gonna say we're probably gonna finish it tomorrow instead. But I want to get at least half of it done. So we're gonna start on one of our sleeves now. It's been about 40 minutes and I'm undoing all of the progress that I've done because the little girl that I'm making this for, she wants this to be a rainbow colored sweater, but because of the variegation in the yarn, it's not going to come out as a rainbow, which I kind of knew before, but now that I'm like making the actual sweater, I don't think it looks super nice. So instead I'm going to try doing granny squares and sewing them together. So like each granny square will be this rainbow gradient. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm going to make a bunch of granny squares and then sew them together to make this sweater. I originally wanted her to match her brother and sister, like with like the same hexagon pullover pattern. I really don't like how this one's turning out, and I want her to be satisfied with it. So they'll still match. They'll all have a granny stitch of some kind. It just won't be the exact same pattern. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. We'll see if I keep to that. I might go back. I go back and forth between ideas a lot, but it's kind of part of the process, so you'll see what I end up doing. I'm still not sure yet, but we'll get there when we get there. I have finished our first granny square, and it looks like this. I haven't weaved in any of the ends yet. Don't worry about it. We're just gonna ignore that they're there. It looks like this. I think it's super cute. It's definitely what she's going for. To do this, I basically just started slicing up the yarn where I wanted it to end and then tied on the next color, which is fine. I don't mind doing that. I actually like weaving in my ends, so I'm excited for when I get to that point. These are 7.5 inches by 7.5 inches. We're gonna keep working on it, and I really like this a lot better than what I was doing before. It's the next day. Yesterday I finished about 4 of these squares, which is not exactly halfway, which I said I wanted to be. I'm hoping I can finish it today. I really need to, because I need to start a new series of blankets for my shorts, my Instagram, and my TikTok, because I do try to post every day. I got a little bit of a late start this morning because I took some time to organize my room. I cleared off my desk, which is where I am right now. I'm not in the bed behind me, which is great. I couldn't take as much stuff off of it as I would like because it is stuff that I use pretty often. So it is kind of crowded, especially since my desk is super small. But I'm happy to have my desk back. I'm happy to be here because that means I can switch spots more often, which is great for me because when I crochet, sometimes I'm like, I'll get less productive if I'm sitting in the same spot for too long. You know, I like a change of scenery. So this is great. It is finally time to start getting cracking on these squares. I did a little bit today, just finishing up one of them from yesterday, so not too much. I'm starting another one already. And we're just going to be working on this pretty much all day. If it gets to a point where I'm noticing I can't finish this today, I am going to have to put it on the back burner so I can start working on a blanket project for my Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube shorts like I mentioned a few minutes ago. That being said, I'm going to get right into these squares and I'm going to watch my YouTube videos. Currently working on our 6th square, but I ran into a little bit of a problem. I finished our first cake, so now I'm moving on to the mess that we balled up. I ended on yellow of that first cake, and I'm using the orangey red from the second one, but this is all I have of it. I don't really know what to do, so I'm just gonna leave it unfinished like this. It just does the one side and then part of the other side. I'm gonna hope that we don't need that square, but I'm not super hopeful about that. So it's been a while. It's 10:30 now. I have about 10 squares plus that weird little half one that I couldn't finish, and I still have this much left, but this isn't going to give me a whole rainbow square. It's going to be just like that half square, but I think I'm just gonna add the red that I have in my yarn stash, even though it is different. For now, I'm calling it a night. I have some other things I want to do before I go to bed, but I will see you guys tomorrow where we will hopefully start putting these squares together and potentially finish this sweater. It's the next day. On today's agenda, I have to finish this sweater. I know I keep saying every day I'm going to finish the sweater today, I'm going to finish the sweater today. Hopefully today's the day. I think our next step is to crochet another square using this. So that's my first step. And after I do that, I'm going to like measure them and compare them to my size charts and then do a little bit of math to see how I want them to fit together. And then I pretty much will just have to sew them together and add on some little details. Let's do that. Our squares are done. This is what they look like. I actually really like the red compared to the other ones. I think I like these a little more, but I think they'll look fine next to each other. I decided to do our border color in this purpley fig color. It's a Karen 1 pound called Fig. That's really funny. I didn't think it was actually called Fig, but this is what it's looking like on the normal squares. But as I was doing this, I had an idea. What if I did the 8 squares, right? I do 8 squares for the front and back panel, 4 on each side, and then for the sleeves I can just build out in the granny stitch in this fig color. Then I wouldn't need all of these squares, but I also wouldn't need to put these in there. I could use these for something else. I'm not sure what I would use them for, but I'm sure there's something I could use them for. So I think I'm gonna do that instead, but I'm still gonna need to put borders on at least 8 squares, sew them together, add the sleeves, and then the neckline. So doing it this way will take a little longer than I originally planned, but if I focus, I think I could get done today or early tomorrow. Either way, today's Saturday, tomorrow's Sunday. I probably wouldn't see her until Monday evening, so I still have time, but the only reason I want to do this so quick and get it over with is because this video is probably going to be so long and I need to post it for Tuesday, which means I need to edit it by Monday. Otherwise, I'm just going to be working on this. It's 4:30. I have added all of these pink rows to every single square we're going to be using for this sweater. It is 9 p.m. now. I just finished sewing in all of our ends and all 8 of the squares I'll be using. It's the next day. Last night I started sewing our squares together, and this morning I kind of finished up doing the panels. This is one of them. The other one looks exactly the same. So these again are going to be the front and back panels, and then I'm gonna start sewing these together, and then we're gonna add sleeves. I think I'm directly just gonna add them, like I'm gonna sew these two together and then I'll add the sleeves on directly instead of sewing them on after. I know people are gonna ask me for a pattern. I don't have one. I'm just making this up as I go. So we're gonna keep working. And hopefully today is our last day. I keep saying it, but I want to finish it today. It's 3 o'clock now. It's been a few hours. I finished sewing our panels together, our 2 panels. There are arm sleeves, like holes on these sides, and a neck hole at the top. I'm going to do a single crochet collar for the neck hole after I do the sleeves. I'm going to get started on the sleeves, and then I'll see you probably when I have 1 done, maybe 2. It is exactly 3 o'clock now. I just finished our sleeves, adding our collar, and I even put a single crochet row at the bottom of the sweater. I just need to weave in my ends, and then we are finished with it. This is what it looks like. Here's the collar. It's just single crochets. And the bottom, also just single crochets. I think it's so cute. Our sleeves are just granny stitches, and then a single crochet row at the end on both sides, the exact same stitch count and everything. Now I am going to weave in my ends and package all of these sweaters up. Before we package up our sweaters, I do want to recap everything we've made in this video so far. I don't know about you, but this project was definitely super long for me, so I kind of want a reminder of what these sweaters look like before I send them away and never see them again. Here is the first sweater we made. It's super cute, super pink. It is a hexagon pullover sweater. Here is our second sweater. It's a half and half blue kind of thing. Blue and white, super cute. Another hexagon pullover. And our last, but certainly not the least, is this rainbow pullover sweater I made with no pattern. Sleeves. Super, super cute. I personally don't have a favorite sweater. I like them all a lot, but if you have a favorite, let me know in the comments below. I have finished packing up our sweaters. As you can see, all 3 of them are here. I'm going to give these to them probably tomorrow, but there is a snowstorm right now, so potentially not. I'll see them whenever I see them, and I'll give these to them as soon as I can. Hi everyone, I forgot to film an outro for this video, but here I am to let you know that this is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you've watched all the way to this point, please leave me a comment below letting me know which sweater is your favorite. If you want to see more of my content, you can subscribe up here, and if you want to see more of this vlog style content from me, you can watch this playlist here. Thank you so much for watching again. I will see you in my next video. Bye!